Now, you've been doing some cross-pollinating too, correct?
Yeah.
Tell me about your best cross-pollinations to date and how they
Well,
came
I
about.
think my best one's growing right now, and it wasn't because of me. It was one of my plants I gave to a friend who lives here, and
He did something with it?
he accidentally his plant hermaphrodited, which means a lot of times if you're stressing your plant too much or you're not doing
It
it
changed
right,
gender roles?
it'll have both.
Yeah.
It'll get pollen and flowers.
Yeah.
And I don't know what kind of grower he is. I don't want to talk bad, but his plant, one of his plants, hermid, and I had given him one of my plants.
You just call it Hermid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave him one of my plants, and he had it in the tent with that plant, and that plant pollinated.
So they had sex.
Yeah.
They were like, "What's up?"
It
Oh.
pollinated that plant.
Yeah.
And he told me, and I said, well, give me the seeds. I want those seeds. I said, I don't want the seeds from the female plant that cross-pollinated this plant, because she'll be full of seeds too, and they'll all be female. I said, I want the seeds from my plant that you cross-pollinated with it, because I know what my plant was like, and I know it was a good plant. And I said, and I know those seeds will all be female, cross-pollinated with that, not just that plant. You know, because that plant that cross-pollinated my plant also pollinated itself. So there's going to be seeds in that lemon haze. It was a lemon haze. So he's going to get female seeds, lemon haze. But I don't want a seed from a plant that hermid, because that means that tendency is going to be there for that plant to do it. So you got to be careful. Any little stress can cause that. I said, I want the seeds that it pollinated with my plant. And I got one growing right now, and it's beautiful.
Really?
It's beautiful.
Can we see pictures of it, or should we just not? Is that?
Oh, I don't have my iPad. I would have brought it. I had all kinds of pictures.
Yeah.
It's Monkey OG crossed with Super Lemon Haze.
So what would you call that? Monkey OG cross with Super Lemon
We
Haze?
call it Monkey Haze.
Monkey
Buddies,
Haze?
let's call it Monkey Haze.
I just call it Monkey Lemons.
Or you can call it Monkey Lemons.
I don't know.
But it looks like, and he gave me a bunch of seeds, and I called him. I showed him pictures. I said, man, I like those seeds. Those are going to be good seeds. Those are going to be, and it's going to be a good plant. But even when you cross pollinate like that, man, it's just like having sex with somebody when you have a kid. You're going to have some more of the mother in them or more of the father gene in them. So those plants, when you do that, to stabilize a plant like that, you have to pollinate it several times. It could take 7 years before you get one stable enough that you can name it and say, this is my strain.
You have this is a tangent, sorry, but you have 3 kids. And at this point, you've seen, I know your oldest looks just like your wife. Okay? I don't know about your son. I can't tell. He seems like he's like you, though. He seems like you. Okay? From the stories I've heard. And then I think the youngest is still in the mix, figuring it out. Right? What makes a baby, which is like supposed to be a blank canvas, become more like you or more like Tracy or anyone who has kids?
Dude, I don't know.
How
That's
does
a question no one can answer, I don't think.
Well, like, I thought maybe you might have seen or gleaned something from the 3 you've had. Like, did they just come out of the gates just like that?
Yeah.
And so, like, with your plants, like, they're going to come out the gates just like their own version of themselves.
Yep. You're not going to, even if you get a stable seed or a so-called stable strain, you're not going to ever, I've grown a lot. I've never gotten,
clone?
I've gotten clones. Clones are great. Clones are awesome. When you get one plant and you know this is a good plant.
Yeah.
I want this plant and I don't have to get seeds. But when you get a clone, you got to keep that plant in veg for the whole life.
What do you mean in veg?
In 18 hours of light. Because the minute it doesn't get 18 hours of light, it starts to flower.
Mutates.
And once it starts to flower, they die. You know, they only have a lifespan of so long.
So they don't mutate.
They don't. They stay in veg and they don't ever grow flowers. But I knew a guy who had one for 5 years. My wife's cousin, he grows and he had one for 5 years. He would take a cutting off of it, get roots, and plant that because he liked that plant. He
And
liked
so, but
that
then,
strain.
so it would stay. It was just a.
It would be the exact
It was
same
like in
plant.
a holding pattern the whole time.
Yeah.
Right, and so then he would pull what stems or whatever off, and then they would grow to flower. And then, did he ever go, all right, babe, it's your turn? And
Eventually, I've done it. I've done it.
I allow you to.
I did it. I did it in my small tent. I got tired. I was with the Monkey OG. I said, you know what? I got some clones, and that's why my buddy, I gave him one, and he crossed on him. And I liked it. And finally, I said, you know what? I'm going to let her flower now, and it'll be done. Mm-hmm. You know, and after her 9-10 weeks or whatever it is to flower, she's dead.
Yeah, but so like when you allow a plant to flower early, like off the clone,
I've done that, dude.
Right? So like, is that flower taste any differently than the one that you allow to marinate for? I mean, as long as
no, because it's going to be the same, as long as it was picked at the same amount. 8 weeks. Yeah. You don't wait long, because if you wait longer, you lose different things in the cannabinoids in the plant will change.
And so 8 weeks is the standard. Once you let them flower,
yeah, depending on sativa or indica.
Are indicas longer than sativa?
Shorter.
Okay.
By about 3 or 4 weeks.
What about ruderolus?
They're an 8-week total plant. From veg to flower, it's only 8 weeks.
Really?
Because it changes.
They're shorter bushes.
And it changes on its own. No matter what, it's going to flower and die. It doesn't need a cycle of 8 hours of light and a photo period. It doesn't need 8 hours of light, and then you switch it to 12 hours of light to make it flower.
Okay.
It automatically does. Some guys leave them for 18 hours.
Well, you were into a phase there where you were really pushing into the ruderolus realm.
Yeah, I did. And you know what?
You backed out. Why?
Because I grew some big ones. I grew some 6-foot autos. But the stability on those plants, no matter who the breeder was, I don't care, because I tried tons of genetic breeders, even from England, they're not stable. Those plants can be 18 inches tall or 4 feet tall.
Really?
You just don't know.
Am I saying
and any
it right?
stress...
Am I saying it right?
Yeah, ruderolus.
Okay.
Any stress of that plant will cause it to flower. Anything. The pot's just a little too small, it'll flower at that size. And guys brag about it, and I just look at it like, what a waste of time and food, nutrients for your plants.
So it's and like a little nug off it?
My buddy who still grows here, and I was telling you about him, the one who gave me the seeds, he grows them, and he gets 30 grams. Dude, 30 grams? I tell him I get that off of one branch.
Yeah. So
what? It's not worth it. And he'll grow 8 of them, and he'll think he's doing it. And I just look at him like, dude, that takes one plant if you do it right with one plant. A photo plant, not ruderolus. You do it with an indica or a sativa, and you're going to get 3 times, 4 times what you just got on that little thing.
Yeah.